Hello, YouTube. I'm John Locke. Hello, Hugo. Hello, Jack. Locke, you want to tell me what you were doing down there? Huh? Yeah. You want to tell me? Huh? I don't know what to do, Kate. I don't know. What's up, guys? It is Rob, and I'm back with another video. That was my John Locke impression and Jack impression from the show Lost, which I am rewatching right now. One of my favorite shows by J.J. Abrams, man. This show is full of mystery and excitement and just, it's entertaining with great characters, great writing. It's awesome. Netflix had every single episode of this show, and now they don't. Go figure. Netflix has something, then they don't have it. So I had to borrow this from my cousin Dan, Rocky Balboa 101. He was gracious enough to let me borrow, season 1 so I could start it up again. Then I'm going to borrow season 2, then season 3. This was a show that I was excited to rewatch, and man, it hasn't lost its touch, really. I love the characters. I love the story. I love each of the characters' stories. It's amazing. Even though, in the final few seasons it kind of gets ridiculous, but this is a show that you need to follow. Not that it's confusing, it's just that you might miss something important. Let's say if you watch episode 5 and you didn't watch episode 4. There could be something that you missed in episode 4. When you watch episode 5, you're not really going to get it. You might pick it up in the recap, because usually when the episode starts it says previously on Lost, and it'll show something important, but it doesn't show everything. So each episode pertains to a certain character, or maybe even a couple of characters, which is kind of neat. Basically, it's that character's story, or that character's episode, so to say. But, man, it's just full of great characters. And some of these people you do not like right off the bat, because that's the way they're writing them, like a character that you'd love to hate. But then as the show goes on, you start to like that character a lot. So, going over the characters, you have Boone and Shannon, kind of the young kids on the island, so to say, who are brother and sister. I believe it's stepbrother and sister. And those are some characters that are, to me, kind of useless, even though what happens to Boone is, oh man, I'd hate to be Boone. I mean, man, what happens to him is crazy. But, Shannon, she's the kind of girl you would just love to hate, because she's very witty, and she's very, she believes she's always right. She always wants things done her way, and now that they're all on this island and stuff, she basically hasn't changed. You got Hugo, who is a lottery winner, this big, huge guy on there. You got Kate, who's running from the law. You got Jack, who's the only doctor on the island, who, from the pilot episode, he's running back and forth trying to help people. He's very smart, very knowledgeable. You have Michael and his son Walt, who are on the island together, and they don't get along at first, but then they're father and son, obviously. You got Charlie, who is a drug addict, and he's in a band called Drive Shaft. You got Saeed, who's my favorite, who is good with electronics, and he knows about torture because he was in the war, and he knows how to make people talk, interrogate people. You got Sun and Jin, who are a couple who are kind of fighting in a way. But they're Korean, and they don't speak English until some of the episodes you find out that, one of them actually does. You have John Locke, who is also one of my favorites, who, before he gets on the plane, he was in a wheelchair. He couldn't walk, but then when he gets on the island, he can walk. There's something mysterious about the island that's making him walk. He becomes one with the island. And then there's Sawyer, the guy who you really kind of hate from the beginning because he's a jerk. He starts stealing things and keeping things for himself. He's got this cocky, witty attitude about him. He throws out these one-liners. He calls people names, like he calls Kate Freckles. He calls Jin, because he's Korean, he calls him Bruce, like Bruce Lee. He's got names. You know, in a lot of these characters, like I said, you love to hate them at first, some of them, but then you start to like them. They're just so well written. And there are other people on the island who are just there as other survivors, but they're not the main upfront survivors. So the story is that these people, all these people are on a plane, and they're flying from Australia, and they get off course. The plane goes down on this island. And the pilot episode is Jack wakes up, and everyone's screaming. There's plane wreckage, there's fire, there's just bodies laying everywhere. It's chaos, and he's a doctor, and he's running around trying to help people. You know, this guy's legs smashed. He's trying to help him and stop the bleeding, and then he goes to this other person and tries to help them. You know, Jack, he's amazing. Matthew Fox is absolutely amazing. And Terry O'Quinn, he plays John Locke, who was the original stepfather in the Stepfather films. He was also in Space Camp. He's actually been in a lot of movies, but John Locke is awesome too. But yeah, my favorites are John Locke, Jack, and I like Saeed a lot. Hugo I like too. But all these people have something in common, yet they are different in their own personalities. Like, they all have something in common that made them get on the plane and be at that destination. It's like they were destined to all be on that flight and then end up at the island. So each episode, you get to learn about a certain character. And what they do is they have flashbacks. So let's say you start on the island with Jack, and he's doing something. Then all of a sudden he'll sit there, and then it's like he's thinking. It'll go to a flashback of Jack, like, let's say at home, and he's talking to his father, or he's at the hospital working on a patient. And then it'll go back to present day. So it's like, that's what they do in this show, is that they have a lot of flashbacks for these characters, so you get to know the stories of these characters. It's genius. It's genius. So that's how the character development happens, is when they do the flashbacks, and then, of course, you find out why they're on how they ended up on the plane, why they're there, what kind of story is going on, what kind of story arc that connects with the other character story arcs that make them be on the island with them. And then you find out they all have a connection, which is really, really awesome. I love the way they do that. And when it gets to the later seasons, they start to have flash forwards, like future stuff that happens, and not the past to the present. So that's really, really cool. Great character development. You get to know these characters in and out. Some just really, really cool stuff. You know, at first a lot of them don't get along on the island. Then they start to work together to a common goal. But when they're on the island, you know, they're salvaging stuff. They're trying to get shelter, trying to hunt for food. They're, you know, water. But what's cool about this movie, sorry, they should make a movie, the TV show, is the island. The island is so mysterious. There are weird things that happen on this island. Like, there's this monster walking around. And I know a lot of you already know it's the smoke monster. That, you know, it sounds like it's like walking like a giant, but it's actually this smoke cloud that's makes this like sound. And like, it's supposed to be like a security system for the island. It goes around and kills people, basically as like a security measure. But there's like polar bears on the island. There's a hatch, which is discovered in the probably the last few episodes. There's a hatch, and the hatch is very important in the second season. But there's weird things. There's these people called the Others that live on the island, and you know, they basically come and whisper in the jungle and stuff like that, and they send scouts out to kidnap kids and things like that. So there's like those people, and then there's like this French woman who sends out this signal because her and her team crash landed on that island as well. And she's been sending out a signal for 16 years straight, looping it over and over and over. And Saeed is the one who picks up that signal. He's awesome. And so they find out that there's this French woman that could still be alive on the island. And she's been sending out this signal for 16 years. That's how long she's been there. And there's just certain stories, just awesome stuff, man. There's a lot of mystery and you know, once the seasons, once you start getting into the seasons like the other ones, you start to learn there's more behind it. There's more behind why there's polar bears on the island. There's more behind this smoke monster. There's more behind the hatch. There's more behind the others. There's just, it's unbelievable. I mean, there's so much that you have to learn about. And I'm not saying all of it is good. Some of it's kind of blah, but the other stuff, man, oh my God. It's genius. I love it. This actually has some cool special features. They have additional secrets on here. All new unaired flashbacks. The making of the pilot, which would probably have been hard because the pilot episode, man, like I said, there's a lot going on destruction-wise. Series creators tell how the show was conceived, which is pretty neat. Designing Lost, audio commentaries, which I'd love to listen to. Before they were lost, audition tapes and personal stories of the cast, which is really cool. So there's a lot of cool features, a lot of things you can learn about this show. But man, it is definitely worth watching for sure. But yeah, I just thought I would talk about season 1 because there's just so much to it. You know, some of the things that happen in here, like, you know, Locke becomes one with the island and people find him kind of weird because he knows when it's going to rain, he knows all of a sudden how to hunt, he knows things about the island that the other people don't. And so it's like he has this kinship with the island because of the fact that, you know, he used to be paralyzed and then now he can walk for no reason at all. He feels like he owes it to the island. He's a man of faith. You have Jack, who's a man of science. He doesn't believe all that crap. He believes that when he sees a problem, there's a way to fix it. There's always a solution. He's a doctor. He's a damn good one. He knows a lot about that stuff. There's Sawyer, like I said, who's a cocky, you know, thief almost. Like he doesn't care about anybody else but himself. He salvages things because he's a survivor. You got Kate, who's on the run, and she has kind of a story behind her as well. But they're kind of developing this thing with her and Jack, and then also her and Sawyer. She makes out with Sawyer, but Sun and Jin, of course, you know, at first they don't get along with people, but then they start to, after a while. Walt, a kid who likes to hang out with John Locke, but then Michael doesn't like that because Michael thinks John Locke's a weirdo at first. Charlie, who's in a band, who's going through, you know, he does drugs, obviously, but he's trying to quit. John Locke helps him with that. Hugo, who won the lottery, and the numbers that he entered for the lottery numbers have some significance with the message that keeps looping for 16 years. Those numbers have something to do with that, and the hatch, which is very, very interesting. Claire is pregnant with a baby, and the others are after her. They're after her baby for some odd reason. We don't know why, but when the seasons go on, you get to find out a little bit. Boone and Shannon, I'd say they're like the useless characters. I mean, they do have a backstory, but they're not interesting. I don't think they're interesting at all, but Shannon kind of develops this love story with Saeed a little bit. Saeed's awesome, dude. He's just smart. He knows when people are lying. He's good with electronics. He can take batteries and create something and create a signal and things like that. You know, Michael wants to build a raft to get off the island. I tell you, The last episode is a two-parter, Exodus. The last episode is crazy. Because you get to see the others, like, you get to see these people and what they're capable of, and, like, it's just so freaking crazy what happens at the end. There's quite a few things that happen, but I really love the ending to season 1. It's really, really cool. Anyway, there's a lot to see in this show. I don't think you'd be disappointed. Like, honestly, give this show a watch. Like I said, I'm rewatching every single season, and I'm going to be doing a review for each season. So, yeah, definitely give this one a watch. It sucks that it's not on Netflix, you know, available right at the click of a button. But maybe if there's some other way you can watch this, definitely check it out. If you're into the mystery and there's a little bit of like sci-fi-ish stuff too, it seems like. But yeah, really, really different from any other kind of show I've seen. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's my little review of Lost season 1. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for my other season reviews when I finish watching them, and stay tuned for more videos. All right, so Rob signing off. See you in the next one.